not trying to show not trying to show like my freaking internet. My internet feed. Alright, so logging into Twitch. How do you make sure stuff is working? We value your privacy. I don't trust you. I don't know what Prime Loot is. I don't know why I'm watching you. I just want to log in. There we go. They sent a code to my email. We're not showing the screen right? Yeah, okay. I have not received the code. Check spam. I don't see it in spam. Well, this is weird. Well, I got a bunch of emails. See, let's check them. Well, who would have thought? In my other email. 0139000. I'm gonna go to my channel. It says I'm live. Cool. Anyone's gonna need that. Don't really. Anyways. Chat highlight settings. Anyways, I want to see if I can play some indie. Hopefully that doesn't I got a weird sound coming in. It's weird. Anyways. Ah, dang it. Why isn't it showing it? I'm playing it. Hey everybody. Well, I'm not exactly sure why it's not showing indie. That kind of stinks. Well, I guess that means I'm not playing indie. So, I guess that means we're going to code something. So, I've been working on this idea for a game, and I know what the final product is going to I know what the story is going to be, but I don't know what the gameplay is, and all the games I played as a child, all the games I see nowadays, it just doesn't seem enough. And I've been thinking for a while that it's me, that I'm the problem. But I don't know if that's true. I think, the standard thing is the high budget games look like movies, but they're not really that fun. I know they're fun for people and stuff, but I mean, they're not really innovative. I know a lot of money's put into them, I know a lot of programming efforts put into them, but it just doesn't seem, it seems something is lost. As for the indie games that are innovative on gameplay, and as well as visuals, a lot of it is interesting. But I don't seem interested enough to play any of them actually. For a game developer, I'm not that interested in playing the games that exist, and neither am I interested in playing the games that I did as a child, played as a child, you know, growing up. So I'm kind of in a predicament because I have this thematic plot ideas, visual ideas for the game, but everything I've kind of experimented with just doesn't seem to be enough. No matter what I do, it doesn't seem enough. And I want to try and figure that out. I've talked about it with people, and it just seems like it's something I really just have to somehow figure out myself. So I guess I'll try to think of something to program that could eventually lead to something interesting, and then we can go from there, I suppose. And as for programming games with a game engine, it just seems so interesting, uninteresting and boring. Like, it just seems limiting. And also, well, there's other factors, which I won't say right now. But yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's think of something interesting. So I saw something yesterday. It's about you're like working on like a satellite installation, and there's a lot of freedom. Looks like it's made with the that Half-Life thing. It looks like Gary's mod. And there's signals coming in, and you gotta like analyze them and all that stuff. Kind of interesting. But not interesting enough for some reason. Very, very strange. I saw something called Berserk mode. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my other thing with games. It seems to go crazy with the violence. Almost always. Like the developer has to consciously extremely hard to not go crazy with the violence because everyone thinks it's okay, or it's just part of game. It's just part of, like, if you want something that's interactive and gameplay, it's gonna have violence, which I don't really agree with. I mean, like, yeah, like, and like violence I'm fine with wrestling, you know what I mean? So I'm not problem with like physicality in a game, which is ironic. I'm sitting in a chair, touching a plastic mouse, typing on a plastic keyboard, running around in all these games. It's all these gory, dismantling, killing people. It's just kind of funny. You know, but like in the Star Wars games, they're not gory, but it's still a bunch of violence, still taking names, still killing all these people, right? So what I think should be okay is like my issue is that it kind of degrades the gravity of what you're doing. Death shouldn't be too often because of the gravity of it. The meaningfulness of it is depleted when you play like all these violent games, and it just doesn't impact the viewer as much, I feel. And I know like a lot of games go, or some games go for the horror aspect, lots of death, lots of gore, scare. Okay, first of all, I don't like jump scares. I think jump scares in general are cheap. I don't like them. It's like it like forced me to stop playing. You know, they're just abusing my reactions as a something like my uncontrollable reactions to something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem interesting, and honestly, it's kind of annoying. And Mr. Wallace, here's Mr. Wallace. He is he's just he always wants attention, but we won't worry about that too much. All right, so we're almost 10 minutes in. We haven't done anything yet. That's great. I mean, I guess I can learn something like Vim or something. So yeah, I do want to program in Notepad++ because Visual Studio takes too long to start, and also it just is laggy, and I don't like that. Also, I use Windows 7 because that's what I've been using for most of my life, and there's no reason to change, and I don't want to be on this fire of Windows, and I don't really care enough to switch to Linux right now. Yeah. Oh, and Mr. Wallace, he has decided to make his presence known. I can't really see him. There he is. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I know. I know when you get a lot of files for a project, you kind of need some kind of ID, file explorer. You basically need your thing that you run your code to also be a file explorer to make this convenient to move across these files quickly. But I think we don't really need. That's kind of a weird handicap. But the technology to really get around that yet hasn't really been written before. So yeah. I've gone off like 5 different tangents, which I should be talking more in depth, but there's not exactly what I want to be doing today. Don't want to be criticizing the whole computer science industry right now. Which I'm very good at it, but I don't want to do it. Anyways, Mr. Wallace, he likes the head scratches. He likes a lot of attention. The more attention you give him, the more attention he wants. It's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, trying to think of something to write. See, I don't really like making random games because it doesn't seem too interesting to me. Don't like using game engines because it's not too interesting, and I think it depletes from the creative process. But hey, most people don't. I don't know. It's all about the money for a lot of people, right? Especially the companies. Companies exist to make money. It's kind of sad. Okay, he really wants attention. That's great. Okay, don't buy my headphones. Yep. Alright. He just lost his privileges. You gotta go. See you, buddy. See you on the other side. Alright. Anyways, if there's anyone, I know there's no one out there right now because I can see that I'm the only one. But if someone does come, you can decide what I program. You can choose. Yeah, I'll type that. You can decide what I program. All you have to do is tell me in the chat. Make that nice and big so people can see. But in the meantime, that's funny. The coloring. So I've added a bunch of macros to. So yeah, real quick, I don't use the C++ standard library. I don't use the C standard library for my C++ code. The reason I don't do that is because, well, a variety of reasons that I don't really feel like recalling right now. I've internalized them. I don't really think about them anymore. So it's kind of annoying to actually have to talk about those reasons. You know? It's kind of like saying, like, you know, like why do we have asphalt and stuff? It's like, oh, okay, well, we have it because, you know, if we don't, when it rains, it causes erosion, and like it just causes a lot of problems with like the grounds and the roads and logistics and just moving material because that's why it erodes. So it makes it easier for the cars. Otherwise, the car's tires will erode as long, like despite the rain. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah, these are all the reasons. Like kind of annoying. I have to remember all that. By the way, I actually don't think we should use a bunch of asphalt and concrete and all that for the roads, but because we shouldn't be driving a lot in general. But anyway, see, everything is nuanced, everything is detailed, everything just goes on and on and on, right? So, yeah. Anyways, you decide what I program, and all you have to do is tell me in the chat. So once you get around to that, we can get started. Anyways, so what's my void? Void main. So this is my entry point, right? So I like to, you know, and we got the highlighting. Isn't that amazing? And that's so cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's void because it's the actual entry point. You have to actually exit the process, which is a system, you know, platform dependent thing, which I got in here. This is short for exit. It's a keyword because it's one of the most important functions after main. Main, exit, the most important functions in programming, probably. Where you start your program and how to end your program. Not much more to it than that, really. Because everything else is just what happens in between. There's another thing. If you have global, oh buddy, no, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Sorry. Hey, it's okay. He's having a little coughing fit. Doctor said it's not too much of a concern as long as it doesn't happen too frequently. But I think it's the I think this apartment is just a little old and the air's not too great. My allergies are pretty bad in here as well. It's okay, buddy. Let's go. Done? It's okay. I'm sorry about that, buddy. I really am. Yeah. Humidity here is relative humidity right now is 49%. Which isn't too bad. I wonder if cats prefer a little higher. Actually, I'll look into that later. Spoos. Anyways, yeah, I like everything. Everything that's important should be 3 letters or shorter. As for in regards to variables, you know, like let's say you have something interface deploy. I don't like that. What I'm gonna do is, you know, something interface, yeah, interface deploy or something, and then if I do this, that's kind of where I'm at right now, because in the perfect world, this will not be displayed unless I enable a setting in the IDE. So because, you know, not like the majority of the time, I don't even really need to know what this is because I naturally know because I wrote the code, because I think you should write all your code, by the way. I know it's extreme and all that, but, you know, I would go. So, yeah, so this wouldn't be displayed unless you actually need it, which means your program on average takes up this piece of information, this, you know, entity name takes up less screen space, which means you can just fit more on the screen in general, which is interesting. And I think is a good thing. It's a good thing. So we get rid of that. We've got this, and that's cool. I think that's cool. I do think that's cool. So yeah, because this wouldn't be here usually. That's the thing. Maybe when you hover, it comes kind of like some of that stuff in Visual Studio and all the other IDs. That kind of like that. Yeah. Got an email. Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Integer is this, so instead of you know, Bob, it's just iBoggles 5. You know. I know. Well, for that you can do auto. So I mean, I probably should have done A for auto. So A Bob 5. So it's literally just 2 extra characters, which is hilarious, honestly. But I didn't do that. It's actually auto. But I don't use auto that much. Auto reference is that, so you know, auto 3, you know. And then, yeah, that's reference. Although I probably should have done that. All the reference, that is nice. That's superior, I think. I think auto should have been that, and auto should have been that. But I didn't want to take away the A as a variable name because, well, actually, no, that doesn't actually take away the variable name because the implement is a macro, right? I probably should have wrote my own. Well, that's a whole nother thing. Actually, I don't want to talk about any of this. Sorry. Take it back. Don't take backs. Whoa. Oh, I know something interesting we can talk about. It is possible to here, let's just go incognito real quick. It's possible to write a PowerShell script that is also a valid bash script, which I think is super cool, which means you could have this hybrid bash shell script, universal script. We'll call it universal script. Universal script that runs on Windows, Macs, and Linux. And you also have at the back of that thing in a huge comment or whatever is all your executable, your actual C++ compiled executable, right? And then you could run that on anything. So you have your little installer script, which is your universal script, and then it installs itself on the friggin' machine. And so you have the executable for Windows, Mac, and Linux. But then the first thing the installer does is actually move the right executable into its actually own independent file, and then deletes itself. So yeah, you'll have an initial footprint that's larger than it needs to be. However, you have everything you need in this one file for all platforms, which is pretty cool, especially if you don't use internet at all for your game, and it's all absolutely there. It's like in the old days, except it works on every operating system. I know in the old days things were hitting, but you know what I mean. By the old days, I mean everything is there, and there's no downloading your content after you install and some weird Steam thing. Steam is like why you know it's complicated stuff. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, huh? That would be interesting, but I don't know if I care enough. You see my issue. Okay, what was that? PowerShell script that is. Oh, here we go. I don't know why it remembers this when I'm all incognito. Customize settings. I want the minimum amount of cookies. Strictly necessary. Can't change it. Then why did you make it like a optional? Should have just been a green. I don't know. From my choices. So this is pretty cool. Oh, they put ads on here now. Dang. Yeah, this place is kind of like Wikipedia except for coding. It's a good starting point, and if you get your full answer from it, hey, more power to you, I guess. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get screwed by this kind of stuff. Okay, Mr. Wallace thinks he's the most important. Nah. Unfortunately, he's not at the moment. Do I really want to do this? No, I only want to do this if we have a goal. So what's the goal? Well, I have been looking to rewrite my standard library because I got some weird mix of stuff going on that if rewritten would probably be better. For example, well, the main thing is I think printf is the right way to go. Like the cout thing, that is like horrific, I think. It's but why is it horrific? Because one, it just takes too long. It's too long. And also, I want to be able to see what the format is. So I think the format is cool. Anyway, so I have a print format, which is the same as print. Okay, well, I got a string format, right? And your print format that uses that. I also have a print line, which automatically appends a new line. So I usually use this. So let's say I want to print. Yeah, let's just get in the main real quick because we can. You know, why don't we just make this a actual project real quick? I'll get to that later. So say you got a int bob equals 5 float 32-bit float, right? So you want to print Bob and Alex, and then so this is mine actually. So and then you can add a bunch of stuff. That's actually all you need actually. So that's cool. And then let's say you want you want to print it by default. It prints it as a big endian because that's how we read numbers, at least the Indo-Arabic number system that almost everybody uses in the world. But if you want to reverse that, I have something like that. And let's say you wanted to like print some text right immediately after it. You can terminate all the options for this particular thing with the $sign. If you actually want to print a percentage sign, I think you do double or something. I don't know. It's whatever. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool. I also have a print white space, which just assumes it's white space between everything and this. Also, the interesting about this is that I don't. Okay, first of all, I don't do a. I don't do the. I don't do that because of compile time. I think I do something weird. I got a special thing. I got a struct called Z, and it tracks what the pass thing is, but it also does something interesting. It if it's not one of the built-in types, if it's not him. Sorry. I should just go look at the code, but I don't know if I want to show you the code. I'm just gonna be honest now. If it's not something like this, then we actually check if it's a struct. If it's a struct, I check if the struct has the special VSF, which is value string format, which takes in the options that you might have passed, like these options. So let's say little endian, and then I don't know, pad zeros or something. It takes all that stuff. It takes what the destination buffer is. It takes the max number of characters the destination buffer can accept. So if you happen to be trying to print something that's too long, what your destination buffer is, it just returns the number of characters, just like in printf or whatever, or string format, whatever. And that's cool because when you're in your actual dynamic string implementation, you can have a string format for that. So you can, and then you can recall it if you don't have enough allocated in your contiguous memory, right? So that's pretty cool. And then no, Mr. Wallace, he's good, he's back. He's back. He's annoying me right now. Whenever I'm alone, whenever there's no one else in the apartment, he gets a little cuddly. We'll just say that. He he's coming back, keeps returning until he gets bored. Until he gets tired, then he goes to sleep eventually. Anyway, so that's pretty cool, and all that's cool, but it's just a little bit finicky. Well, first of all, so I do this thing. So the signature for print line is actually I don't know. Okay, W is a word, by the way. So on 64-bit, W is going to be U64. Cool. So W, it's the same thing as that or whatever. That says, I don't know why they make it that long. I know they actually a literal type, so you could do like I don't know what it is though. I don't want to look it up either. So W print line. You got your char star. Yeah, I know. Whatever. Print line. And then, well, it's printing, so it kind of knows where. So that's fine. But then I got the zargs, which is a bunch of, by the way, Stu is a struct. So I got the Z thing. And Z is, it tracks what you are. So basically, it's a giant union. And if, and then also has like a type. It's just got a little thing that says the type, and it just sets it based on whatever. There's a bunch of constructor, it just all works. It's all runtime, which I think is fine, by the way, because why the heck, if something's like critical to performance, you should not be printing in the actual deployed version. Anyway, well, that's another point I want to bring up. compile time, putting logic in the compile time is nice for the final deployment. But when I am writing, when I'm in the development process, we should put as much into runtime as possible so that my compile time is low, so I save as much time as possible, because I don't really care what the runtime is as long as it's acceptable to do my job to continue development, right? So that's interesting. But the thing is, we should have a language that's powerful enough where the choosing between compile time and runtime isn't a choice between how I write my code. It's the exact same. It's just a flag I switch at, at the it's compiler flag, whatever, option, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. See, yeah. Anyways, whatever, bro. Anyways, I can show you something cool. Okay, PFV. So I'm going to change to a project now. All my code projects are accessed from this little command line thing that I've written. Anyways, so this is my face. And this is pretty cool because, okay, well, it's kind of slow because I'm streaming. But, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's that, yeah, I don't know. It's my face. I recorded it with some thing by some face detection thing, and then it gave me the data. And it's not screen space actually. It's actually in a weird. It's in like weak perspective space, which apparently is there is a Z value, and the ordering is correct in regards to how far like this point on my nose is closer to me than the side of my face or whatever. But it's not metrically correct. Like the distance is not actually correct. But the ordering, it's like the Z ordering is preserved, I guess. So that's pretty cool. And so that bloom is inspired from limit theory, which is pretty cool. Too bad the project didn't work out. I know there's a Discord thing. I know there's all that. But, yeah. Not too interesting in that one. No data visualization. Oh, yeah. So this is when So this is my file system. This is right now, actually. So yeah, boom, and then we can look at NVIDIA, right? So I have a NVIDIA GPU. Oh shoot, that's a bug. Okay, so we can center on this buddy, and then we can click them, and then we can expand them, and display driver, and then a bunch of boring files that I wish weren't there, cause who knows? Microsoft Visual C runtime. They got some DDL, SSL, TTL. I'm just kidding. Look, there's an executable. Yeah, I can't. Whoa. Okay. Because of the stream, it's like messing it up, but you get the picture. Anyway, it's based on a limit theory thing. Yeah, limit theory is pretty cool. It would be cool if it finished, but I know that it took a great toll on it, and that's a whole other thing I can go into. But I don't really want to do that. So, as you can see, there's a bunch of things you could talk about, but there's not a lot of things I want to talk about. And that's the thing I think that's the thing I'm trying to figure out in this truth. So the question is, how do I figure out what to do, what I should be doing? Because what I want to do is all messed up for some reason. I don't know what I want to do. Well, I know what I eventually want to do. I know what a product I want to create, but I don't know how to create that product, so that's interesting to me, and it's not really, really boring. I'm not really referring to the development. I'm really referring to the gameplay. I don't know why, but gameplay for everything seems not to be that great. This is why I'm starting to think either it's like I'm the problem. Why I'm starting to think I'm the problem, but I don't know why that is true. Because look, I grew up playing a bunch of games and they were fun, but now they're like not that fun. I feel like it's just something I've experienced enough. So why can I think of something to put into a game that will make me feel like, hey, I haven't really experienced this, but I want to engage with it. I want to learn this system, and then it has a cool visualization, it has a cool plot. So it really takes on this thing that's something that movies, books, and other media cannot express quite as well. I want to find that. So that's my fundamental issue with mainstream video games, is that they're not really doing anything so interesting that video games can do. Because people like, if you go to the comments for like people playing through these AAA games, they're like, oh wow, this the story really captured me, or the fact that watching someone playing the video game is pretty much close to making how you feel as if you were playing it yourself is kind of telling, because it's an interactive game. You're not interacting, you're watching it. You're like watching a movie. That's because they're designed to be kind of like movies, which is not, I don't think is the right way to go. I think, obviously, it can evoke something, and obviously it makes a lot of money, which is why people do it, right? But I don't think it's a fundamental endpoint for games. And it's ironic because if we actually pursue what I'm saying, it would theoretically make more money. But I really hope it. I don't want it to turn into that. Didn't want to make that money, man. Whew. Yeah. This is a guitar pick. I've had this one for quite a while, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so I was talking to someone who actually was involved at some point with limit theory, not coding, but community, and they said that it's not worth it to make AI, at least for that particular game, in the way that Josh was pursuing, because you can just fake it. You can just have like a game master, kind of a mind that's aware of all the entities and just kind of makes it look like there's activity wherever the player is, and that is enough. And that happened. I might have had that conversation maybe not a year ago, but we're probably coming up on that. And it has bugged me ever since I had it. I have not followed up with the gentleman, but because I don't know. I just didn't want to currently. So what I've just been thinking about, and it just doesn't sit well with me. One of the things that was so exciting about Limit 3 is that the AI, like the world lives whether or not you were present or not. That's what makes it a living world, right? It doesn't depend on you. The presentation of it, can depend on like that's fine, duh. Like obviously, that doesn't matter. Of course, you're only gonna render what's close to you and all that stuff, right? Obviously, I'm talking about the actual simulation, but then it's like, oh, we don't have the technology for that. We can't do that on a single computer. Blah blah blah. I'm like, are we sure? Are we sure? Right? How sure are we of that? No, it's been tried and done. People fail. Look at all these projects that fail. Blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. If we did it at a small enough scale, only 100 entities ever, something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. So let's say we made a game. Okay, let's think about this actually. Let's bust out some comments. Oh, what could it be? 3, 4, 5. Sure. Why not? There you go. Okay. Only 100 entities in order to be performant on a modern computer. Deep individual entity simulation. Right? That should be I think that's important. The world is very interactable. the crafting system in the game. I don't like how like, oh, here's the crafting system in the game. Here's this system in the game. Here's this one. I want it to all be. It's you can't pull one out and look at it. Like it's so intertwined with all the other systems. There is no individual. In the code, sure, but no one ever sees the code except for the developer, so it doesn't matter. So, what am I trying to get at here? I don't know exactly. That's the thing. I don't know. This is the creative process. This is like the annoying thing, right? People want to make some YouTube video, coding something, some system. They can research it right before, and they can. But I want to do something that's never been done before. I want to somehow pull something out of existence that has not been done before, and it's just something special, man. And I have a story, I have a plot I think I want to do. I just gotta really find the true gameplay. So I want people doing stuff. Okay, entities doing stuff. Okay, so part of the plot is there's a lower caste of peoples, considered lower by the people above them in power, whatever, right? They're not actually lower. Just like in real life. Anyone's considered lower class, whatever, is not actually just a lie, an evil lie, right? Anyways. And they have to do stuff to survive. Okay. We'll call them the common people. Common people must do things to survive. There is a kingdom with a wall and danger on the outside, but the resources are outside. Because, well, you know, when they initially made the kingdom, there was enough resources inside, but then eventually they exhausted them as the kingdom grew, and now you have to venture outside, and obviously the common people are going to do the dangerous jobs, just like in real life, right? Common, so frustrating in real life, but we're not going to focus on that right now. Let me fix this a little. Okay. So I guess right now we're in the game design phase. Yeah, someone gets paid $150,000 to do that at some company. Good lord, man. Anyways. Alright. So my point is... What was my point? So that's nice. Okay, but what are they actually doing? Alright, well, we could do like real life stuff. Food, water, sleep. Wealth generation to move up in society. Right, it's progression, there's progression. Whatever. So I've been through this a million times, but hey, let's just take a look at it again. Okay, so you don't sleep, you will just become so disoriented or even die. I don't know. So obviously, like, there's animals out there, you know, you hunt them or something. Yeah, whatever. Water, sleep. How do you get money? Well, the people who go outside, they actually get the raw meat, whatever. Then they bring it back, and they give it to the cook. And the reason there's cooks is because someone's got to do it. Someone's got to cook the food, and it's not way too inefficient for them to go out and also be the cook. They can cook the whole time, not the same equipment, I guess. So the cook pays them for that raw meat, and then people pay the cook for the meal, and then the cook pays taxes. I don't know, something Where's the money come from? Well, there's someone up there who's making the money. All right, we're taking a quick break. Alrighty, back here, boys. Alright. I've coded all this to some extent. I just don't know why it doesn't click. I don't know why it doesn't click. Do I just have to get far enough? To be dedicated enough? Is that the key? Is that the key to all this? I suppose it could be. But like the thing is that what makes it interesting is all the stuff that can happen in between and the possibilities, but then it just gets weird. Okay, look, like there's these actions, but then like I want it to be when the player does it. Like in Skyrim when you pickpocket someone, you just walk up and press a button. I was thinking like, what if you actually have to guide your hand like into the pocket, and the pocket was like, it's just this whole thing. This whole thing inside the pocket, man. It's all this gameplay about getting into someone's pocket so you can steal the money or whatever. Same with like breaking out of prison. If you get caught pickpocketing, you go to prison or whatever. You go to the jail. And you can break out, or you can, if we get caught breaking out, it turns out even worse for you. Something like that. But it just requires a bunch of experimentation, mate. Also want, the data. Data as an object. That's freaking cool. Data as a commodity. Data as a commodity. Huh. Yeah, if we keep the number of entities low to 100, we can do a lot of interesting stuff. All right, new plan. Data as a commodity. What data? The position of an entity at a certain time. The orientation of an entity at a certain time. The state of an entity's brain at a particular point in time. The average speed of an entity from time X to time Y. All this is information. What can this information be used for? Well, if you're at a crime scene, you have this information, wouldn't it be useful? But how do you know this information is genuine? Digitally signed information by who? Well, maybe all information is signed by the creator of it. And the only way to get something signed, like it's your DNA. You sign it with your DNA. So the only way someone can forge it is if they have your DNA, which means they've been near you. They have your DNA. So if you go to someone, take a piece of their hair, then you have their DNA. You can sign anything as them. sign it as them. That means you can like buy things in their name, all kinds of stuff. So how do you prevent that? Okay. Okay. So like you go to the store, you put your fingerprint. No, your fingerprint. No, no, no. You need the blood. Fingerprint. That's silly. Yeah, I guess how do you prove you're you if anyone could have like you taken a drop of your blood or whatever? I guess okay, wait, in your blood, like let's say you were injected with someone else's blood. Does your DNA change if you're injected with someone else's blood? I don't know the answer to that. Does your DNA change if you are injected with someone else's blood? I mean, okay, the blood cells themselves are not the DNA, right? No, just receiving a donation does not alter the patient's DNA. Interestingly, though, in most people, it is possible to detect a very small amount of the donor's DNA in the recipient's blood for a few days after. Okay. So if we take a sample, multiple samples of your blood, we know who you are. That is a unique identifier of you, apparently. But we can also see who you donated. Huh. Huh. So you get like some card, and you want some information that your eyes have witnessed, you've smelled, you've heard, okay, you've done, part of memory. So you're like, okay, I want to put these memories and I want to sell them. You're not losing them, you're just copying them onto this card. You swipe it in some slot on you, and then you got a copy of it. You can sell it. It's been digitally signed with your DNA. It's encrypted with your DNA. Yeah, how do we know that? How do we know that? How do we preserve that? Okay, well, let me think about this. If you got your DNA, how do we know who created this information? Well, it's the same with like a key stuff. How do we know if something was actually encrypted by X's private key? Because we have the public key. How do we know the public key is correct? Because on a computer we have the certificate of authorities public key installed, and we know that only the chain stuff. Interesting. So, Mm-mm. Okay, let's just public-private key cryptography. So that system works because you have the certificate authority, and they sign when they create certificates for people, public keys, whatever. They sign it with their public key, private key. I don't remember. Anyways, if someone gets something, they can verify that they are who they say they are because they can use the CA's thing to look at it. And that confirms that it was something that the CA has approved, been involved with. And you can't fake that, or it's very difficult to fake that. So we assume it's valid. If we assume it's valid, that means so as long, and you can't, in this case, you can't have your key, your private key stolen unless they literally kidnap you. Right? Well, I guess they could kill you. Make up false information. This would be interesting gameplay. False information. Validate the information. So like one information is position information. Position information. You know, position. We'll call it X, Y, Z, whatever. Time. Who. Right? Nice. Ugh. That's interesting. So someone just creates one of these. Like each one of these is a card information, literally a piece, physical piece, which means you need to raw materials to make the cards to even transfer information, which is interesting. Maybe you can like only hold the maximum information too. That's interesting too. Okay. So how do you prevent someone from faking, or how do you know something's genuine? Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Interesting. I like where this is going. The real question is writing the AI that's aware of all these possibilities of actions. So, what is a notary? A person authorized to perform certain legal formalities, especially to draw up or certify contracts, deeds, or other documents. A person authorized to perform acts on legal affairs, particular witnesses. Witnessing signatures. Yes. You go to a notary in the game. You go to a notary in the game so that they can witness the creation of this signed piece of information. The Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi. Not the man. Code of Hammurabi, not the man. Anyways. Yes. This is good, I think. Okay. It's interesting. So now we've made information commodity feasible, made interesting. So on the market, you could have information that's signed and unsigned. So unsigned information still be useful, especially if you we're quickly talking to the person. Maybe you can vouch with your DNA. You can vouch that if it's already created and you want to attach your signature to it, you can certify it, kind of. Maybe you have to state who you believe the creators. Alright, that's interesting. Now, with this, why is this useful? Well, maybe it takes a long time to haul your gear out into the wilderness outside the kingdom. So instead, you just stay out there, which means you hand off. Well, no. If you hand off your meat to some courier and you just pay them immediately. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need that. Besides, can't even do it with the notary there. Dang it. Well, detective work. Sorry. All right, let's get real though. So if this position info, okay, so this is at XYZ, so that's gonna be a vector 3. This is gonna be a, let's assume it's a flow, and then who? Let's assume that's gonna be a U32. So what the egg? And I'm gonna change this to, I'm gonna actually do it like this: position info, and I'm gonna do position info. So the size of position info is gonna be flow, which is 4812. It's gonna be the size of V3 plus the size of F plus the size of U32, which is equal to 4812 plus 4 plus 4, which is equal to 16 plus 4, which is equal to 20. And so the thing we're actually interested in, I'm gonna put at the front. So there you go. Those are all equal. At least on a 64-bit system. So 4812 plus 4 plus 4. Yeah. Okay. So 20 bytes. Anyways, so if we do 20 bytes, and we're gonna couple the rendering and the logic update, because we're just gonna do it so quickly, it's just not gonna matter. Maybe how about that? I made like them crackers. So 20 times 100 entities in the game times 60 frames per second equals. I know I should be able to do this in my head, but I'm already okay. This equals how many bytes of information generated just for position data by the world. 120 bytes per second. So let's say we'll dedicate about 1 gigabyte of RAM. So gigabytes a byte, I don't remember. Okay, so 1 bytes equals 1 gigabyte. Whatever. Okay. So 120,000. You know I'm getting at this, right? Because like what all right, screw it. For position data, we'll do once a second. So that just went down a bunch. Okay, so that's only 2,000. Okay. That's way more reasonable. Yeah, 20 times 100 times 1. Okay. So I'll pretty much never exhaust that. But hey, let's do the math just in case. 1, 1, 2, 3. I mean, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, divided by 2,000. So that gives us 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 5 nanoseconds. Okay, so 2,000 bytes a second. So 1 gigabyte divided by equals 500,000 seconds. Seconds to hours. 5, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that gives us 138 hours, which is enough to finagle with. After that, we'll just delete the old ones, and then whatever, we'll call it a day. Yeah. Oh, we have a viewer. Welcome, viewer. Welcome, viewer. Decide what I code if you want. Otherwise, I am working on a game idea, I suppose. And they're gone. Gotta love that. Anyways. So, hours, that's cool. So we do a bunch of stuff for 130. So we're recording on that point, but we got way more. Okay, well that's the main thing. Position. Maybe it was only once a minute. Who knows? I don't know what the tick should be. What's the tick? What's the point of all this, though? The point is that you have this information that can be. Why is it useful, though, knowing where someone is? Well, if you're a detective, you can easily, you know. And if you're guilty, you could, like, hack the system, break in. Hmm. I don't know how I feel about this idea. I don't know if it seems too relevant. Relevant. Information is a commodity. What is it useful? Well, maybe we're just only do interesting, like, actual interesting information, not all this real-time stuff that could have some merit, but yeah, let's get away from this automatic generation. Let's try something else. Welcome, welcome, viewer. You can decide what I code if you want. Otherwise, I'm working on a game idea, I suppose. I was just working on some idea, some weird information as a commodity in the game, like the positions, like an actual object generation. I don't know. Now I was ranting for, well, I guess I've been ranting for like an hour now, but you know, got lots of random, strange ideas. I have a plot, but it just hasn't come together. You know what I mean? And there's I could always code some technical thing as well. You know, I'm not much of a I'll code whatever you want me to code, I suppose. But anyways, until you answer, I will continue with what I was doing. And that is, okay, so if the information is commodity, the real-time stuff isn't useful too much. So maybe I should just be more about you choose to generate a particular piece of information at a time because it'll have some usefulness. So for people going out and getting, you know, food, I'm not exactly sure how that'd be useful. I guess how we should make the hunting interesting. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these games, they just have you pull out your gun, you shoot them, put the health bar down, then that's it. I don't know, it doesn't seem too interesting. Maybe you have to trap them. You have to, like, chase them somewhere or something. Maybe I'll just give up. Alright, enough of this. For now, I'm done. New notices. Battery full. Fantastic.